So we know that anxious, preoccupied individuals tend to really want a commitment in close relationships. And generally, when we study how each of the different attachment styles tends to show up in each of the major stages of relationships, we'll see that in the dating stage, anxious, preoccupied individuals tend to want to form some kind of commitment as early as the 2 week mark in relationships. The general space tending to be between 2 to 4 weeks of the dating stage. And we see fearful avoidance by comparison tend to want to actually form a full commitment in a relationship around the 3 to 4 month mark, and dismissive avoidance around that time and sometimes even substantially later. So, why does the anxious preoccupy? Like, what is actually driving them at a deep subconscious level to want to push a commitment along so quickly? And how can you learn to pay attention, if you are an AP, to some of those underlying mechanisms so you can show up for yourself and have these like really healthy systems and structures to support you as an individual so that you can also do the work to not commit too fast in case it might be to the wrong person? So, in this video, I'm going to take you through the 3 biggest reasons anxious, preoccupied individuals push for commitment so early, and what you can do if you want to slow that time down so that you are choosing more consciously and taking the time to vet somebody. Number one, anxious, preoccupied individuals are really wired for certainty. They are seeking certainty, and they are constantly feeling like, hey, if there's a commitment, there's an element of certainty in this relationship. It makes them feel safe and relaxed. However, part of that is this sort of recirculating trauma response because of point number two, which is this underlying fear of abandonment. So, this underlying fear of abandonment, once this connection is formed, seems to only be solved through outside things like the person committing to you in the relationship. But what this does and why this is so hard for an anxious, preoccupied person and why it actually can really sabotage your dating life is it puts you in a position of, once you start developing feelings, of you suddenly wanting to please that person all the time so that they accept you and they want to be with you and commit to you, rather than actually dating and using dating and the stage of dating as a time to vet somebody effectively, as a time to really see, not only am I a good fit for that person, but is this person a good fit for me? So I have some exciting news, which is that we are doing $1,000 off of our lifetime membership sale to the Personal Development School, which means you get access to literally everything at PDS for your entire rest of your life. Essentially, that entails all of our different courses you have lifetime access to. I do 4 live webinars a week, every single week. You can access them ongoing, and you get access to all of our daily community events. So I'd love to see you on the other side, and you can access it by using the link in the description box below. Do I know my boundaries? Do I know my standards? Do I know my non-negotiables in relationships? And am I asking the right questions across time and observing this person and taking in this information to see if this person is a good fit for my life? And even things like values, morals, things that are important to you long-term. Is this person a good match? And because of that fear of abandonment, triggering that point number one, that imagined uncertainty, because those things constantly get tripped, the way that the AP tends to automatically cope, we all tend to have automatic coping mechanisms around old trauma. And the AP version of that in their adult lives tends to be to people please, to fawn, and to really try to seek that certainty through people pleasing to try to gain their desired outcome, being the commitment, which seems to solve for the certain lack of certainty and fear of abandonment short term, but actually kind of really negative long-term consequences. Because if you choose the wrong person because you don't vet effectively enough, because you're driven by fear instead of truth, then what ends up happening is you end up in the wrong relationships that are likely to end up in abandonment and a lack of certainty longer term. So, I still have one other point here, being point number 3, but just for these first 2 points, reconditioning these underlying assumptions about abandonment and learning to meet your own needs for certainty through self-soothing and through the inside out are so important. And while I don't have time to go into all of that in this video in detail, if you want to check out our anxious, preoccupied reprogramming course for free for 7 days using the link down below, it's more than enough time to get through a course. Because of the length of the courses, we tried to chunk them down more. Then you can use that link below, and it talks to you all about how to recondition these fears of abandonment, how to meet your needs for certainty in healthy ways. It goes into it in a lot of detail with worksheets and workbooks, and everything is laid out there 100 times better better than I can ever lay out in a quick short video here. So check it out if that's something that resonates with you. And number three, anxious, preoccupied individuals tend to see commitment as basically being symbolic of love, right? It's special, it's significant. And because they're constantly trying to fill their own cup from the outside in, they meet their needs through others meeting their needs and people pleasing their way to that. And that's been their survival strategy in relationships for so long, rather than meeting their own needs in a healthy way and then also receiving from others in a healthy way, because it's so externally focused first. It's like, hey, if we get to that commitment, it ensures that I am loved, I do matter, and I will get my needs met from the outside in. And I will survive, my needs will be met. But the healthiest version when we're securely attached is like, if you're needing validation, you would be encouraging yourself, building yourself up, behaving in a validating way towards yourself on a daily basis, and be naturally doing those things, and then also receiving in a healthy way from others. And there's a balance. But when we're running on empty in those areas, especially in relationship to our needs, they can create this fear and this pressure. Like, I need this connection to work and this commitment to be here so that I can in turn know that I'll be okay because my needs will be met. And so these three things together tend to put a lot of pressure on the AP in relationship to relationships, but can also sometimes act as this sort of secret set of saboteurs in the background, and can be really valuable to do the work on, because it will allow you to vet properly, choose the right people more effectively, and not have this constant underlying fear that can spill into relationships and make them uncomfortable as early as the dating stage. So I hope this makes sense. I hope this really answers a lot of your questions. Check out that course for free for 7 days if you want to do a deep dive into that content below. And if you have questions for me down below, please share them. And if you're enjoying this channel and enjoying this channel's content, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.